The motion picture industry, through the friendly cooperation of the radio industry, is presenting this program tonight. Among the artists you will hear during the next hour and a half are these:
Jack Benny, Connie Boswell,
Madeline Carroll, Ronald Coleman,
Melvin Douglas, Clark Gable,
Fay Holden, Charles Lawton,
Bob Hope, Myrna Loy,
Mary Martin, Groucho Marx,
the Merrimacs, Frank Morgan, Merle Oberon,
Reginald Owen, Dick Powell, Tyrone Power,
Mickey Rooney, Ann Rutherford,
Barbara Stanwyck, Lewis Stone, Robert Taylor,
Shirley Temple, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, Max Tears Choral Group, Don Wilson,
and Knox Manning. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a brief keynote address by a man who needs no introduction anywhere, Tyrone Power.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A few minutes ago, I was told that this program is being broadcast by two great networks of America, and in addition to many independent stations. That it is being broadcast by shortwave to England and the European continent. This is America's tribute to the Greek nation. Greece is a little country, but today, more than ever before in its great history, it has become an important, inspiring nation in the eyes of all peoples who believe, as the Greeks do, that life and liberty are worth any sacrifices. This week, America begins a nationwide campaign to bring needed assistance to the wives and children of the Greek fighters. Tonight's broadcast opens the campaign. Any help we can give them is an investment in democracy. I believe it would be appropriate at this time to pause in respect to the courage of Greece. Now, we open our program with a march, written and conducted by Meredith Wilson. The title, America Calling. We take you to the home of perhaps the best-known, best-loved family in America, Judge Hardy's family. And we're going to eavesdrop on Lewis Stone as the judge, Fay Holden as Mrs. Hardy, Ann Rutherford as Polly Benedict, and Mickey Rooney as Andy Hardy. Judge Hardy is coming downstairs in search of his son.
Andrew? Andrew, howdy, where are you, son?
Right here, Dad. In the living room, James.
Oh, I see. Andrew, I just had a phone call from Officer Caldwell. He,
Officer Caldwell. The motorcycle cop, huh?
Yes.
I'm innocent, Dad. Innocent as a newborn babe.
Well, he said something about encountering you at 3:30 this morning.
Now, James, you gave Andrew permission to stay out last night as late as he wanted to.
Well, is that any reason for Andy and Polly Benedict being found at 3:30 a.m. in his car parked in the darkest section of Rutherford Avenue?
Mom, if you'll only excuse us, please, maybe I could explain this to Dad, man-to-man style.
Very well, Andrew. Dinner in 10 minutes, James.
Dad, I didn't park on Rutherford Avenue for any smooching.
Smooching?
Smooching. Mousing, a hush party.
Oh, the crush party. You mean what in my youth we call spooning?
Yeah, only spooning sounds pretty vulgar, don't it? But Polly and me, we only parked there so as to get some sleep. We were sleepy.
Sleepy? Then why on earth didn't you go to your respective homes and call it a day?
Oh, we couldn't have done that. We'd have lost our self-respect.
Now, look here, Andy.
Dad, it was to prove that we're grown up. You see, yesterday us kids in school made an agreement on account of we're graduating this year. We decided to break in our parents to start to cure them of that be home early stuff. So all the boys and all the girls, too, agreed that for the basketball dance last night, none of us get home until 4 a.m.
Well, that sounds somewhat fantastic.
But everybody got tired about 1:30, and the dance broke up, and so there was Polly and me with our word of honor pledge not to get home early, and yet we couldn't hardly keep our eyes open. So we parked in the dark street and took a nap until time to get up at 4 a.m.
And is that, all?
All? Oh, Polly was in the front seat and me crossways in the rumble seat when the Officer Caldwell comes around and wakes us up.
Well, it doesn't sound very reprehensible.
Reprehensible? It wasn't even romantic. It turns out that Polly is kind of unpleasant when she gets sleepy. And when she woke up, boy, was she in a bad humor. Oh, let me tell you, Dad, since last night, I'm doing a lot of thinking about ever getting married at all.
Oh, hello, Polly. Good evening, Mrs. Hardy. Is Andrew? Oh, there you are, Andy. Hello, Judge Hardy.
Polly, if you've come about last night, everything's explained and Dad understands.
Oh, my folks simply howled with laughter.
What's so funny about it?
Well, Mother and Father were coming home late from playing bridge, and they drove through Rutherford Avenue, and they saw us. Andy, they said that you looked simply screamingly ludicrous.
Me? Well, I'll bet even Abraham Lincoln couldn't have looked dignified sleeping in a rumble seat and trying not to get any grease on his pants.
But it wasn't that. You were snoring.
Snoring, huh?
Andy, I'll never be able to ride in your car again without thinking of you with your mouth open making horrible noises.
Pa! You didn't look anything like a rose geranium with your hair all mussed up and everything.
Oh, here. I want to listen to the radio. Turn it on, Polly, will you please?
Oh, but Judge Hardy, my mother thought Andy was so funny. She said he sounded just like my father, which is something like a sick calf.
If you ask me, this conversation has sunk to a very, very low level. Dad, do you know what I dreamed about Polly last night?
Andy, did you really dream about me?
Dad, in my dream, Polly was only 8 years old, and I was her father. And I was washing her mouth out with soap for being disrespectful to her elders.
Andrew Hardy.
Hold on. I declare this bout a draw. Andy, tune up that radio volume, will you? I want to listen to the Greek War Relief broadcast.
And since we know the Hardys are listening in, a little later in the program, we'll return to their home in Carvel for another visit. Tonight's Judge Hardy Family Playlet was written and supervised by Carrie Wilson, who produces the Hardy Family Pictures for Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, there are two young men standing in the wings who are very anxious to get on. In fact, they've been here ever since 3:30 this morning. Our co-masters of ceremonies, Jack Benny and Bob Hope.
On my way to the theater tonight, a funny thing happened to me. A panhandler.
Oh, pardon me, Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Jack. Age before corn.
No, you tell that gag, Bob. You always get away with murder. Go ahead.
No, Jack, we all want to know what happened to you on the way to the theater. And that's my last straight line for the night.
Look, Bob, you've got nothing to worry about. If I wanted a straight man, I wouldn't get a guy with a nose like a shoehorn.
Now I know why Fred Allen hates you.
He hates everybody. Now, as a matter of fact, Bob, I'm just as mixed up here as you are. In the first place, I can't understand why they wanted 2 masters of ceremonies for this benefit.
Well, I guess they figured one of us wouldn't show up.
Well, why did you?
I didn't think you had a tuxedo. And I'm right.
I wouldn't talk about my tuxedo, Bob. In fact, I quit making payments on the one you're wearing right now. Now, look, Bob, as long as we're in a spot here, we got to be fair about this and divide everything 50-50.
Okay, 50-50.
Now, Bob, I've got a list here of all the celebrities to be introduced tonight.
Oh, they gave you a list.
Yes, I'm very good at reading.
Go ahead and brag.
Now, let's see.
I hate a show-off.
Bob, please, professional courtesy. Now, I'll read the list. There's Robert Taylor, Barbara Stanwyck, Carol Lombard, Charles Lafton.
Charles Lafton, give me that list. Hey, you're right, it is Charles Lafton. Go ahead.
Now, I'm afraid it isn't.
Look, Jack, let's get this settled. We'll split these introductions 50-50.
Okay.
Now, let me see. Now, I'll take Madeline Carroll. Who do you want?
Well,
You take Dick Powell.
oh, you get Madeline Carroll, and I get Dick Powell.
That's right.
Lucky me.
Then I'll take Carol Lombard. Who do you want?
Well, I don't know. I've got Dick Powell.
Well, go ahead. Pick somebody else.
Well,
You take Charles Lafton.
thanks.
Now I don't know who to pick. Let me see. I'll take Myrna Loy. Who do you want? Here, you take Groucho Marx.
Groucho Marx. I wish Harry Lauder was on this program. I'd like to get one skirt. You know, that's my first big laugh. You know that.
You know, we can wait tonight. It's a 2-hour show.
Now, look, Bob, this whole thing is too complicated. I've got another idea.
All right.
You take half the show, and I'll take half the show.
Okay, Jack, we'll cut the program in half.
Okay, have you got a pair of scissors?
No, but I've got a knife.
I was afraid of that.
Well, look here, Jack, we don't have to cut this up. You MC the first half of the show, and I'll go back to the dressing room and see if the lamb chops are done.
Okay. Bob, take the fat off of mine, will you? Nice fellow, Hope. I understand he's doing very well on the air. I must buy a radio and tune in on him sometime. Still can't understand what he's doing here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure he wasn't invited. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it was with great pleasure that I bring you a grand singer of songs. A young lady whom you've heard many times on the air and who is now a featured artist on the Bing Crosby program. Miss Connie Boswell. Well, good luck to you, Connie.
Thanks very much, Bob.
He's got the other half. I'm Jack Bennett. I mean, I knew this would happen.
Good morning, you sleepyhead. Stop yawning, get out of bed. Say the air is softer, so it's time you get the morning milk. Come on, wake up, get up. Look at the grass over in the sun, heavy with the dew. Look at the birds, you can almost see how they're breaking through. Look at the birds feeding all their young in the sycamore. All the morning glories keep a-climbing all around my door. Just take a breath of the new mown hay and the sugar cane. Looks like tonight there'll be a moon down in Lover's Lane. There you go, daydreaming, when it's time that you obey that sunrise there, the day. You sleepyhead, get out of bed. Did you hear what I said? I'm gonna stop my coaching and I'm gonna paddle you instead. Just take a breath of the new mown hay and the sugar cane. Looks like tonight there'll be a moon down in Lover's Lane. Now there you go, daydreaming, when it's time that you obey that sunrise serenade. That sunrise
Very good, Connie, very good. That was really brilliant. By the way, Connie, how would you like being a guest star on my program some Sunday night?
Oh, I'd love to. What are you paying, Jackson?
Forget it. And now, ladies and... Come to think of it, Connie, I already have a singer, so let's make it some other time, shall we?
All right, Roger.
Goodbye. How can How can a girl with such a sweet voice be so commercial? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Goldwyn just received the following telegram from Spiros Skouras, president of the Greek War Relief Association. The first donation which has come in as a result of this broadcast is a check from the Order of AIPA, the largest American Greek fraternal organization, for $50,000. Best regards. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there are three very charming people standing here at the microphone waiting to be introduced. They're all very dear friends of mine, so I'd like to have you meet Barbara Stanwyck and her husband, Melvin Douglas. Or rather, Robert Taylor and his husband. Or his wife, Barbara Douglas. Or Stanwyck. Melvin Stanwyck. I mean, Robert Taylor, Barbara Stanwyck, and Melvin Douglas. I'm sorry.
We present for purely educational purposes An Evening at Home with Mr. and Mrs. Robert Taylor, written and supervised by Doris Sherry. In the cast are Robert Taylor as Robert Taylor, Miss Barbara Stanwyck as Mrs. Robert Taylor, and Melvin Douglas playing the part of a motion picture star named Melvin Douglas. The scene, as the title suggests, is the home of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Taylor. As the play opens, Mr. and Mrs. are in the living room of their home.
Bob, the least you might do is read it before you start criticizing
I
it.
haven't any interest in it. For the first time in weeks, I have a night at home, and I don't want to read sketches.
You don't want to read it because they've asked me to play the sketch with Melvin Douglas.
That's nonsense. The way you talk, a person would think I was jealous about the idea of your playing a love scene on the air with Melvin Douglas.
Well, if you're not jealous, you must be standing in a bad light because your face is a nice shade of apple green. Well, that's probably Melvin. Try to be polite, and if you can't, try to be tactful, and if not, at least be civil.
Is it all right if I just kick him in the shins as he walks into the room? Oh. Hello, Bob. Good evening, Barbara.
Hello, Melvin.
Hi, Mel. Sorry I'm late. Oh, that's all right. We were having a fine time. Did you get your copy of the script, Barbara?
Yes, I read it. I think it's swell.
Did you read it, Bob? No.
That thing on Bob's face is a pout.
Oh. Retakes or just tired?
No, just Barbara's imagination.
Now, I think Bob's a little jealous.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not. I don't think he likes the idea of you and me playing a love scene on the air.
But it's for charity's sake, Bob. This is to help the Greeks, this program.
Don't appeal to my sentimental side. I'll do just as much for the Greeks as anybody.
How about running through it, Barbara?
Fine.
Wait a minute. Wouldn't you like to have a drink or something before you start rehearsing?
No, that can wait. I'm anxious to see how this plays.
Yeah, so I noticed. You couldn't be happier if they were paying you to do this broadcast.
Well, my feeling is once you promise to do something, you might as well do it.
That's just the way I feel.
I can't understand why nobody thought of the idea of Barb and me playing this scene.
Well, they probably thought the audience wouldn't believe it if you played a love scene with your own wife. You know, it spoils the illusion.
Bob, either you stop sulking or we'll rehearse someplace else.
Oh, no, you don't. I'm not sulking. I was just making an observation.
I don't know why you're getting so excited. It's only a sketch for the radio. We'll be in front of 1,000 people broadcasting to millions.
Well, that makes it worse.
This isn't a commercial program, Bob. It's for charity.
I know all about that. Barbara told me it's for charity. You told me it's for charity.
Yeah, well, don't jump at me. I was just stating a
Well,
fact.
we'll never get anything done yelling at each other. Now, let's play it through and have it over with.
You're pretty eager about this, Barbara.
Eager schmeager, we've got to rehearse.
Wouldn't you like to play a little backgammon first, Mel?
I don't play backgammon.
Gin rummy?
Listen, we'll play later, Bob. We ought to run through this.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, Barbara, the announcer says that you and I are up in a shack in the mountains, and we're building a fire in the fireplace. And you're tired and cold, and you're looking at my powerful shoulders as I build the fire.
Powerful shoulders. Your shoulders droop.
Listen, this fellow's just a character in the play. It's not me.
Well, nobody will believe it. They know you. They ought to get somebody with real shoulders.
Well, I don't know. The tailor does a pretty good job with your shoulders.
Oh, taking his side, huh?
Oh, Bob, you're being very conventional about this. Acting just like a husband and not a good one either.
Well, why not? I am a husband. Yours.
Now, just sit down in that chair and relax. Like the dentist said, this won't hurt a bit.
All right, Barbara, you've got the first line.
Oh, yes. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come along.
Oh, it is nothing. You would have found the way.
What is that?
I'm a French guide.
You sound like a poor man's Charles Boyer.
We'll never get anything done if you keep interrupting, Bob.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I never would have managed if you hadn't found me.
It is funny. Here in the mountains, a person comes to believe in destiny. We have a name for this destiny. We call her the Lady of the Mountains. It was she who led me to you.
Bob,
Yes, dear?
that's the first time you've wound up that clock in 6 months.
Well, it's about time I did it then. That's all done.
Thank you. I'll give you your cue again, Barbara. It was she who led me to you.
Oh, tell me more about this Lady of the Mountains.
The legend says she has eyes just like yours, and hair the color of autumn leaves like yours.
Hey, I thought you were reading this, not acting it.
Now, what do you mean?
What's he got his arms around you for?
Because it says so in the script.
It's a radio script. What do they need that for?
It gives more realism.
To whom?
To me!
Look, Bob, why don't you go to your room and we'll go through this rehearsal by ourselves and it won't annoy you. Or go take a drink, or go play solitaire, or go for a ride, or just go.
I wouldn't leave this room for $1,000.
Look, if you don't want me to play this scene, I won't do it. I was just doing it for charity, just for the Greeks.
Well, you weren't doing so bad for yourself either.
Oh, come on, Melvin, let's finish it.
All right. I just gave you the speech about the Lady of the Mountains. Now I'll give you the cue again. And her hair, it is the color of autumn leaves, like yours.
Oh, your voice is like music.
His voice sounds like music. I'm Bing Crosby.
Well, if you put on a saddle, you'd look like something Crosby keeps in his stable.
My dear husband, you are driving me crazy.
I was only...
Bob, please, just sit down and relax, please.
Well, I just think the script's silly, that's all. I don't know what you're doing it for.
I told you the reason I was doing it
I know, for charity.
Oh, come on, Melvin, stop arguing. Let's finish the scene. Yes, your voice is like music.
Why are you trembling, my lovely Lady of the Mountains? Why are your eyes so moist with tears?
Hold me, Pierre. Hold me.
Of course, if you two weren't acting, I'd swear you'd kissed each other.
Well, we have to make it sound good for the air.
They've got sound effects for the radio.
If it would make you feel better, you could step in just for the sound effect.
You're too generous.
You're too exasperating.
Well, I know a kiss when I hear one.
Oh, never mind the kiss, Bob. That was incidental. Oh, I'm so sorry. No offense, Melvin. What did you think of the entire sketch, Bob?
I can't tell you in mixed company.
Well, it was the first run-through. We'll be better next time.
Better not be, especially in that clinch.
Mel, I think you'll be great.
It couldn't be better no matter how many times you did it.
And that could be a compliment, but I don't think it is.
It's not. It's not your fault. It's the fault of the script. Phony, all that fake dialogue.
I think that's a pretty cheap way to show your jealousy, Bob, discouraging us like that.
Just as I said, it's not your fault. It's the material. If I were you, Mel, I wouldn't do it. It'll ruin you. Nobody believes that kind of junk anymore.
You know, you sound as though you're serious, which worries me and makes me very suspicious.
Sure, I'm serious. I'll admit I was burned up for a time, but the truth is I think you're both being very short-sighted playing that material.
I think you're being hypercritical.
I think he's being hyper-jealous.
Oh, now, really, take the character of the French guide. That sort of character's old-timey. People laugh at that type of characterization. And you, Barbara, that spoiled society girl, that's not for you.
Maybe you're talking sense, Bob.
Well, if he's talking sense, it's a change. Hello? Oh, just a minute, Mr. Sidney. It's for you, Bob.
Hello?
Oh, Bob, how do you like the sketch?
Well, for one thing, I don't think Melvin's right in it.
Melvin. Melvin who?
Melvin Douglas.
Oh, he's not supposed to be there. We've changed the program around. You're supposed to play that sketch with Barbara.
Oh, I'm supposed to do it.
Why, sure. I've got something else for Melvin, but I want you and Barbara to do that one. I think you'd be great as a French guy.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll get on it right away. Thanks. There's been a mistake, Mel. You're going in for another sketch, and Barbara and I are going to do this one.
I thought you said you wouldn't play it.
What about me, that society girl?
A fella can change his mind.
But the dialogue, you said that was
What are
old-fashioned.
you talking about? It's a wonderful sketch. It'd be great for us. Come on, Barbara, let's get into it. I do a wonderful French dialect. Well, so long, Mel. Happy landing, unless, of course, you want to see me play the part.
No, thank you. I think I'll go home and bake a ham, and I do mean you. Good night.
Good night, Millard.
By the way, thanks, Meredith, for jumping in there. I forgot to introduce the sketch. I know Phil Harris would never have thought of that. But that play was really very funny. I really enjoyed that. By the way, Bob, I was just wondering if you and Barbara and Melvin would like to make an appearance on my program some Sunday night. It'd be loads of fun.
It's a swell idea. How about it, Barbara?
Oh, I'd love to. How about you, Melvin?
Oh, well, I don't know. It'd mean a lot of work and fuss and everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess you're right, Melvin. It means wasting a whole Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's forget the whole thing. So long, Jack.
So long, Jack.
Hey, what happened there? No, for a minute I thought I had him. Oh, well. And now, ladies and gentlemen...
Say, Jack.
All right, the next star is my pleasure to introduce...
Jack, remember me, Bob Hope?
You're the guy that gave me the first half of the show, and you're back already. What do you want? Huh?
Well, I can't let you introduce the next star. It's Shirley Temple, and she's a little young for you.
Mm-hmm.
After all... After all, the public would sort of expect a girl like Shirley to be introduced by a boy like me.
They would, huh? Well, pull down those pants. Because those varicose veins aren't helping you any, you know? Matter of fact, I should introduce Shirley Temple.
That's right. You both have curls. Of course, yours are from Westmore's.
Is that so?
Is this where I'm supposed to stand?
Oh, go away, little girl. We're getting ready to introduce Shirley Temple.
But I'm Shirley Temple.
Yeah, and I'm Clark Gable.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Gable. Gee, you look much prettier in your pictures.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is Shirley Temple, a new and lovely Shirley Temple.
Shirley, I'm really not Clark Gable. I'm Jack Benny.
And I'm Bob Hope.
Is he really Bob Hope, Mr. Benny?
Sure, why else should he admit it? Say, Shirley, you listen to my radio program, don't you?
Of course, Mr. Benny.
Why not? She's too young to go out nights.
Except Tuesday nights.
Wait a minute, Shirley. Have you ever heard my program?
Oh, yes, Mr. Hope. I listen to your program. I'm still a little girl, you know.
Say, I like you. You know, Shirley, I honestly believe you're one of the outstanding personalities in the picture industry and a very capable actress. Now tell me, what do you think of my acting?
Well...
Gee, Jack, what a compliment.
Yeah.
Of course, personally, Jack, I think you're getting a little too old for those Lionel Barrymore roles.
I think so, Mom. But tell me honestly, Shirley, which one of us looks younger, Bob or me?
Well...
Go ahead, Shirley. Tell the truth. What do you care if you make one of us an enemy?
If I tell the truth, I'll have two enemies.
Why, Shirley, don't you like me either?
Oh, yes, Mr. Hope. I've admired your pictures. I think you're so romantic.
Oh, come now, Shirley. I don't want you to think of me as being romantic. I want you to treat me as a father. When you get a little older, you can treat me as a brother. When you get a little older than that, it's every man for himself.
Say, Shirley, now that Corny got his gag in, haven't you something to say to the boys and girls listening in?
Yes, Mr. Benny, I have.
Well, come on, Jack. There's a lot of people in front of the theater. Let's go outside and take a bow.
Okay.
It's windy, so hold your hair.
I will. Go ahead, Shirley.
Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, I'm sure there is no one in the world who hasn't, at one time or another, needed help from someone else. You, therefore, ought to give help to this wonderful cause. I have. Won't you all?
Thank you very much, darling. And now, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great treat prepared for you. Miss Norma Shearer and myself were going to do the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet. But unfortunately, my tights haven't arrived yet, and neither has Miss Shearer. So in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you my dear friend, Mr. Charles Laughton.
I beg your pardon, old boy. The name's Lawton.
Oh, it's you. Oh, Lawton. Yes. Charles. Oh, I thought it was another fellow I used to know called Laughton. He was a juggler. I was wondering what he was doing on this program. Oh, my goodness. I really...
Well, now that I am here, will you introduce me and stop drooling?
Okay, Mr. Lawton. Mr. Lawton, ladies and gentlemen. Gee, I didn't mean anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, a cable has just this moment reached us, addressed to Sam Goldwyn from the Premier of Greece. With your very kind permission, I would like to read it to you. It is with great pleasure that I am given the opportunity to express to you and to your collaborators and all the great artists in Hollywood my heartfelt thanks for your Phil-Hellenic sentiments and sympathies toward Greece fighting for liberty. I highly appreciate your initiative in organizing this broadcast in Hollywood, which is another manifestation of the interest with which the noble American people and its artistic world are following our struggle for liberty and justice. Signed, Albert Alexander Koritsis.
Oh, Charles, before you leave, I was just wondering, I just wanted to ask you, would you like to appear on my program some night?
Thank you very much. No!
That's the most definite thing I've ever heard. Thanks just the same.
Oh, pardon me, Jack.
What is it, Don?
We paused briefly for station identification.
You have just heard Charles Lawton's eloquent appeal on the nationwide broadcast for Greek war relief. And I know all of us here in Los Angeles will want to help in this cause. After all, if we can help the starving women and children, it's the least we can do. All you have to do is pick up your phone and call Bullock's, Trinity 1911, or the May Company, Tucker 8211, and tell the young lady who answers your call how much you want to contribute. A Western Union messenger engaged for this purpose will come to your door to pick up the contribution. Make your call now, so that Los Angeles will be up among the leaders when they count up the final score of America's generosity. Just call Bullock's, Trinity 1911, or the May Company, Tucker 8211. Now, please do not phone this station. Phone Trinity 1911 or Tucker 8211. And now we have several contributions that have come in here, which we'd like to read to you. One from Jim G. Emulis of San Luis Obispo, California, who is a former Greek soldier and who contributes the sum of $1,600. We have also a contribution from the Ashtabula Fraternity Elks Lodge of Ohio, chapter number 208, signed by James Breen and contributing $100. Paul Block, noted publisher, donates an additional $250 to the amount set in to Mr. Samuel Goldwyn. Remember, if you wish to make a contribution to this cause, phone Trinity 1911, Bullocks or the May Company, Tucker 8211.
Starring Madeline Carroll and Groucho Marx. Miss Carroll plays Mary Thorndyke, who has been arguing all day with her husband, John Thorndyke, played by Groucho Marx. Now the Thorndykes are cooling off on the porch of their home in the hammock.
It's no use, matey. It's no use. We can't keep this up.
You mean?
Yes, I do. I'm through. Through rocking on this hammock. Back and forth. Back and forth. It gets monotonous.
Well, how else could you rock?
To and fro is a good way. Or hither and yon. Really, matey, sometimes I wish you'd gone to school.
John, you haven't given me your decision yet about the money for Olive.
Olive? Who's Olive?
John, Olive is that daughter of ours.
Which daughter?
We have only one daughter, John.
Oh, yeah, that simplifies it. That must be the one, then.
Please, John, I want to speak to you about her.
Is it about money again?
Yes, John.
What did you say?
I said yes, John.
John? Who's John?
You're John, my dear.
Oh, that's right, so I am. I must remember that. What were we talking about?
About Olive.
Olive? Who's Olive?
Our daughter, John.
Oh, yes. That girl is driving me crazy. She thinks I'm made of money. She's too extravagant. Not 1 cent, matey. Not 1 red cent.
Oh, John, she's young. She's beautiful. You know, John, you're only young once and beautiful.
Oh, matey, I'm not so young.
I don't think I can stand it much longer, the way you two act. We sit at dinner. Olive staring at you. You staring at Olive. You don't speak. Why? Don't you like Olive?
I like pickles. I'll have to cultivate a taste for Olive.
John, it's terrible. The very atmosphere is charged.
I meant to speak to you about that, matey. Everything around here is charged. It's got to stop, matey. You don't know the value of money.
But it's not for me, John. It's Olive.
Olive? Who's Olive?
Please, she's our daughter.
We have a lot of children, haven't we?
No, just one. And she must have nice things. John, dear, you must expect to spend money on a pretty girl.
Yeah, I always did.
What?
I mean, I love you, matey. And don't forget, I worked hard for my money.
Until you married me.
Remember, dear, I'm a Thorndyke. I gave you my name in exchange for your money. Now I have your money and you have my name. And I have my name and your money. Oh, it's all so confused and complicated and confused.
John, I just can't have my daughter staying behind while her friends enjoy the pleasures and niceties of life. She's a Thorndyke, John.
Who's a Thorndyke?
Olive, our daughter.
Oh, naturally.
Well, what do you say, John? Yes or no?
Yes, I say no.
You can't refuse your own flesh and blood.
Matey, I don't want to refuse her. It's just that we've got to be careful of money now, matey. Now, of all times. Have I told you how things are down at the office?
No.
Well,
You mean?
worse than that.
Oh, I didn't know. Then, John, maybe we shouldn't.
No, matey, because I love you. I'll call the bank and see if they can do something.
You're fair, John, and square.
Give me that phone. Hello, operator? Give me the Last National Bank. Hello, bank. Give me the receiving teller. Hello, receiving. How are you? How's paying? Say, I haven't seen notes receivable lately. How's he feeling? Oh, that's good. Well, how's my balance? Well, what do you care who this is? I'm asking you a civil question. I expect a civil answer. How's my balance? All right, I'll let you in on a secret. This is Thorndyke. Now, how do I stand? I'm a bit surprised myself. Is it really that bad? It is. Oh, then, I guess it is. Well, goodbye, receiving.
What did he say, John?
He didn't say. It was after 3 o'clock and the bank was closed.
John, I know you'll do the right thing as you see it. Perhaps it was wrong of me to ask you to spend the money. It was just that I felt so sorry for Olive.
Olive? Who's Olive?
John, Olive is our daughter.
Oh, nice. Well, if you put it that way, matey, I can't resist. Tell whatever her name is. What is her name, matey?
Olive.
Oh, yes. Tell her she can have the money.
Oh, John, you're wonderful. You're fine. Olive will be so proud and so happy. Oh, John, kiss me, kiss me.
At a time like this? Can't you see I'm busy? Always kissing.
But you do mean it, John. You will give Olive the money.
Of course I'll give it to her, although it takes the last penny I've got. How much does she want?
$12.
$12?
Well, she wants to buy a pair of alligator shoes.
She'll spoil the beast. Never heard of an alligator wearing shoes, but I'll give her the money, matey. Yes, I'm doing a noble thing.
Noble, John.
I'm a Thorndyke. I'm doing a thing that will outlive marble and the gilded monuments of princes.
Beautiful.
Am I really? Matey, say it again. Keep on saying it.
Perhaps you think it's better than...
Oh, she shall have it. Nothing's too good for Olive.
Olive? Who's Olive?
Who?
Olive, who's she?
I don't know, but I've seen you someplace before.
Ladies and gentlemen, the play you've just heard, The Thorndikes, was written by Dick Mack.
Oh, Judge Hardy, isn't it simply a wonderful broadcast? Isn't it, Andy?
Swell. Oh, I'll take it. Hello. Why, yes, Mr. Davis. I'd be proud to, Mr. Davis. Of course, you need somebody more like George Washington than me. But I'll do my best. Goodbye, sir. That was Mr. Davis, the high school principal. I'm the president of the senior class, so he wants me to give a talk at school tomorrow for the Greek Relief Fund.
Well, that's very complimentary, son.
Oh, Andrew Hardy, you make a speech.
Yes, Miss Benedict, and I'm going to ask my father for help, too. Dad, please, now, what would you say if you were in my position?
Well, Andy, I think I'd say that the whole existence of mankind is founded upon friendly human cooperation. Without such cooperation, we'd have no established law and order, no organized social system whatsoever. And mankind's cooperation with mankind must include the factor of help. And this help is not something which we, in our nobility, deign to bestow on those less fortunate. Help from one person to another, help from one group of people to another. That's not a privilege. It's a duty, a solemn obligation. For without this charitable cooperation between peoples, the race of man would perish from the earth, and the earth would be left to the dumb animals. Greece? Why, from my own college days, I remember what Lord Byron wrote about Greece. Cold is the heart, fair Greece, that looks on thee, nor feels as lovers o'er the dust they love. Dull is the eye that will not weep to see.
Oh, pardon me. I got it. Hello. Oh, hello, Mr. Davis. You what? You forgot to tell me. Goodbye. Dad, my speech is to the first grade class, and honest, I don't think I'd better quote Lord Byron to those 6-year-olds. Gee, Dad, how am I going to make a speech to a lot of babies?
Once more, the Hardy family settles down to listen to the Greek Relief broadcast. We'll return again to their home in a few moments and hear how Andy Hardy evolves a speech to the first grade.
While the Hardy family goes back to the Greek Relief broadcast, we ask you to listen earnestly for a moment to a message in behalf of the Greek War Relief which has been sent to us by a world-famous author. Today, the Greeks have rekindled the flaming phrase, the glory that was Greece, into the glory that is Greece. So great a space they fill in our hopes, we forget how small a space they fill in our maps. All Greece is much less in area than our single state of Florida. In population, much less than New York City. Yet that tiny people brought the defenders of democracy the first victories in this war. The very word democracy is a Greek creation. They give it its first trial. 2,500 years ago, they saved all Europe from the vast hordes of the Hitler of that day, the Persian Xerxes. Their ambassadors refused to prostrate themselves before him and cry al High Xerxes. They said, "We were never taught to adore a man." When a Persian prince pointed to his luxury and wealth and advised them to yield, they answered, "You have never known how sweet a thing is liberty," or "You would have urged us to sacrifice everything to preserve it." Today again, the Greeks are sacrificing everything to preserve liberty, not only for themselves, but for the world. We can, without sacrificing anything, help them in their supreme moment. It is a time when they desperately need what we can give. Dollars. Dollars are blankets. Dollars are bandages, and dollars are medicine. Dollars are deliverance from despair. In the snow of the mountains, they are shedding their blood. Can you, refuse to shed a few dollars? That's what Rupert Hughes asks us. Well, our answer to Mr. Hughes is no. We in Los Angeles will give these dollars. You have only to telephone the May Company, Tucker 8211, or Bullock's, Trinity 1911, and tell the young lady who answers your call how much you want to contribute. A Western Union messenger engaged for this purpose will come to your door to pick up the contribution. Make your call now so that Los Angeles will be among the leaders when they count up the final score of America's generosity. Please do not phone this station. Just call Tucker 8211 or Trinity 1911. And now we have some more contributions here that have come in. Mrs. Ida G. Batele donates $5. Mrs. Frank B. Vesey donates $10. E. Tigerson of Long Beach donates $10. Mr. and Mrs. S.K. Williams of Glendale, $10. M. E. Llewellyn of Glendale, $5. An anonymous contribution, $100. Mr. A. H. Sherman, $5. Ralph Bloom, Jr., $100. Alan Nugent, $200. Mrs. Ellen H. Lawyer, $5. Mr. and Mrs. S. J. Weaver, $5. We return you now to the program.
Drop the bucket down, deep, deep, old oaken bucket, the iron-bound bucket, moss-covered bucket, that hung in the west.